The pulsating sphere of emerald light in the heart of the cavern seemed to throb with a malevolent life, a hypnotic beacon promising answers in exchange for something far more precious. Fear, cold and acidic, churned in Alex's stomach. He glanced at the shard of his spear, a pitiful mockery of a weapon in this place of shadows. A single glance back at the ledge offered only the grim comfort of a familiar terror. The world outside might be brutal, but it held no promises as seductive, nor threats as potent, as this cavern. Taking a deep breath that did little to quell the knot of dread in his chest, Alex stepped off the ledge. The rough cavern floor scraped against his worn boots, the sound swallowed by the oppressive silence. The air grew colder, the hum more intense, vibrating through his bones with a frequency that threatened to shatter his teeth. He stumbled forward, each step echoing in the vast emptiness. The paintings on the cave walls shifted from grotesque depictions to scenes of chilling beauty. Figures danced around the pulsating sphere, their faces contorted in an ecstasy that bordered on madness. Then, with a horrifying jolt, the scenes morphed. Screams ripped through the silent cavern, screams of unimaginable pain and despair. As the figures were drawn into the sphere, their life force funneled into its emerald heart. A wave of nausea washed over Alex. The metallic tang of blood suddenly thickened the air, the stench of decay clinging to his clothes like a shroud. Suddenly, the ground beneath him gave way. He tumbled down a steep incline, a silent scream tearing from his throat. He landed with a sickening thud on a smooth obsidian platform, the world spinning wildly around him. Disoriented, he scrambled to his feet, a primal fear urging him to flee. His gaze fell upon a sight that sent a fresh wave of terror coursing through him. Before him stood a massive obsidian archway, its surface rippling with the same emerald light as the sphere. Etched onto the arch were symbols that writhed and twisted like living things, defying comprehension. A low, seductive voice echoed from within the archway, a voice that seemed to slither into his mind, bypassing his ears entirely. "Welcome, Alex," it purred, the sound sending shivers down his spine. "The power you seek lies within." He felt an irresistible pull towards the archway, a siren song promising answers laced with a danger he couldn't quite define. But a flicker of Xochitl's warning echoed in his mind. This power wasn't a solution, it was a curse, a darkness that could consume him just as easily as it could grant him his desires. He took a step back, a tremor running through his body. The voice grew harsher, laced with a chilling amusement. "Why resist? This power can give you everything you desire. Strength, knowledge, revenge." Alex clenched his jaw. Revenge was a poisoned chalice, a path he wouldn't tread. He desired answers, a way to break the curse and save everyone. But would the power within the archway offer that? Or would it simply feed on his desperation, twisting him into one of the grotesque creatures depicted on the walls? With a newfound resolve, Alex turned away from the pulsating archway. He wouldn't be seduced by its empty promises. He would find another way, a way that didn't involve succumbing to this seductive darkness. He scanned the cavern floor, his eyes darting from shadow to shadow, searching for another path, another clue. Just then, a flicker of light caught his eye, a faint reflection glinting off a smooth obsidian wall opposite the archway. Stepping closer, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs, he brushed away a layer of dust to reveal a hidden inscription. The symbols were different from those on the archway, yet a strange familiarity tugged at his memory. He concentrated, trying to recall where he'd seen them before. Then, it hit him. The symbols were similar to the ones Xochitl had sketched on the map that led him here. Could this inscription be a map too? A map to another solution, another way to break the curse? A spark of hope ignited within him, a fragile flame flickering in the suffocating darkness. There was more to this cave than just the alluring power within the archway. Xochitl had known that. She had sent him here for a reason. He traced the inscription with his finger, memorizing the symbols. This was his new path, a path less traveled and far more uncertain. But for the first time since leaving the safety of Xochitl's hut, Alex felt a flicker of control, a sense that he wasn't just a pawn in a deadly game. He was here to fight back, and the Cave of Shadows, with all its secrets and dangers, might just hold the key. But the inscription wouldn't decipher itself. He needed time, a chance to study it without the seductive whispers of the archway and the oppressive chill of the cavern. His gaze darted around the cavern, searching for any sign of shelter. In the distance, A faint sliver of light sliced through the darkness, emanating from a narrow passage that seemed to disappear into the very heart of the mountain. It was a risky proposition, venturing deeper into this malevolent place, but the inscription offered a glimmer of hope, and hope was a luxury he couldn't afford to squander. Taking a deep breath, Alex drew his ragged cloak tighter and stepped towards the passage. As he entered, the sliver of light vanished, plunging him into an even deeper darkness. He stumbled forward, his hands outstretched to navigate the uneven terrain. The air grew thick and humid, the silence broken only by the dripping of unseen water and the ragged rasp of his own breathing. After what felt like an eternity, the passage opened up into a small cavern. A single bioluminescent plant illuminated the space, casting an eerie blue-green glow on the cavern walls. Nestled in the corner was a pile of weathered animal skins, offering a semblance of comfort. With a sigh of relief, Alex collapsed onto the skins, the inscription clutched tightly in his hand. He spent the next several hours studying the symbols, comparing them to the map Xochitl had drawn. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The symbols seemed to represent a network of tunnels, hidden passages within the cavern, leading to a place marked with a single, enigmatic symbol, a spiral. Was this the source, the true heart of the curse? Or was it another trap, another lure designed to lead him deeper into the cave's clutches? As exhaustion finally claimed him, the image of the spiral burned into his mind. He dreamt of endless tunnels, of whispers echoing from the darkness, and of a monstrous entity with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce his very soul. He woke with a gasp, sweat clinging to his skin, the inscription still clutched in his hand. The decision gnawed at him. Follow the inscription and risk venturing deeper into the darkness, or attempt to flee the cave and face the unknown perils of the forest once more. He glanced at the archway, a faint hum still pulsating from within. No, he wouldn't succumb to its siren song. He had a purpose now, a path laid out by the inscription, however perilous it might be. With a newfound determination, Alex rose to his feet. He was no longer a helpless wanderer. He was a hunter, tracking a beast within the belly of the mountain. He may not know the full extent of the danger, but he wouldn't back down. He would find the source of the curse, and he would find a way to break it, even if it meant facing his deepest fears in the heart of the Cave of Shadows. The bioluminescent plant cast an eerie glow as Alex traced the inscription onto the rough wall of the cavern. The symbols seemed to pulsate with a faint light, a response to his touch. He compared them to his memory of Xochitl's map, a shiver running down his spine as the path unfolded before him, a labyrinth of twisting tunnels and hidden passages leading ever deeper into the mountain. Taking a fortifying breath, he strapped his meager supplies to his back, the shard of his spear a grim reminder of his vulnerability. He stepped into the darkness of the first tunnel, the bioluminescent glow fading behind him. The air grew thick and stagnant, the silence broken only by the dripping of water and the unsettling rasp of his own breathing against the rock walls. The tunnel twisted and turned like an intestinal passage, each bend revealing only more darkness. Doubt gnawed at Alex's resolve. Was this another trick, a mocking maze designed to disorient him? Just as despair threatened to consume him, he noticed a faint glint of light ahead. He quickened his pace, hope flickering like a tiny flame. The light emanated from a fissure in the rock wall, revealing a vast cavern beyond. A gasp escaped his lips. The cavern was a twisted parody of a cathedral, its ceiling impossibly high, and its walls adorned with monstrous statues carved from a black, obsidian-like stone. In the center of the chamber, a colossal obsidian monolith pulsed with the same emerald light he'd witnessed at the entrance. But it was the figure at the base of the monolith that truly sent a jolt of terror through him. A creature of pure darkness, vaguely humanoid in shape, its eyes burning with an emerald fire. It turned its head towards Alex, a guttural growl rumbling from its throat. Panic threatened to overwhelm him, but then Alex remembered the inscription, the symbol of the spiral that marked its destination. This wasn't the heart of the curse, it was a guardian, a monstrous gatekeeper standing between him and the answer. Drawing a deep breath, he shouted, his voice echoing in the vast cavern. "I'm not here to fight, I only seek to break the curse." The creature tilted its head, its eyes seeming to pierce through his facade. A low hum resonated through the cavern, the sound both terrifying and strangely familiar. Suddenly, a flash of memory, Xochitl chanting, her voice rising and falling in a strange melody. The chant? It matched the sound the creature was making. He closed his eyes, focusing on the memory, and began to chant himself. The creature's growl subsided, replaced by a flicker of curiosity. It continued to hum, but the sound shifted slightly, as if responding to Alex's chant. A surge of hope surged through him. He was on the right track. He poured every ounce of his will into the chant, his voice growing hoarse but unwavering. The cavern floor trembled, the colossal monolith starting to hum in response. The creature took a step back, its eyes burning with a newfound respect. With a final surge of power, Alex finished the chant. The cavern fell silent. The air crackled with unseen energy. The monolith split open, revealing a swirling vortex of emerald light within. Fear and trepidation warred within Alex. This might be the real heart of the curse, and venturing in could be his undoing. But he'd come too far to turn back now. With a determined nod, he stepped towards the vortex, the fate of the people and perhaps his own life hanging in the balance. The emerald vortex pulsed like a beating heart, a mesmerizing portal that shimmered with both promise and peril. Alex stood at the precipice, the memory of Xochitl's dire warnings a heavy weight in his gut. The air around the vortex crackled with raw power, a chaotic energy that both terrified and exhilarated him. Stepping forward with a resolute breath, he crossed the threshold, and the world dissolved into a swirling chaos of emerald light. He tumbled through a void, his body a ragdoll tossed by unseen forces. Visions flashed before his eyes, grotesque figures consumed by an unseen agony, a monstrous entity with glowing eyes that seemed to pierce his very soul, and a symbol, the same spiral from the inscription that had guided him here. He felt himself pulled towards it, a tractor beam drawing him to the heart of the curse. With a gasp, he landed on a smooth, obsidian platform. Disoriented, he looked around. Unlike any cavern he'd seen before, the walls were not adorned with gruesome paintings, but rather shimmering tapestries woven from pure light. In the center, a colossal tree stood with its branches reaching towards the unseen ceiling, its leaves glowing with an ethereal light. Suspended within the branches, trapped in a cocoon of emerald energy, was a figure, a woman with flowing white hair and eyes closed in peaceful slumber. A wave of recognition washed over him. It was Xochitl, the wise woman who had guided him. But how? Why was she here? As he approached, the tree pulsed, and a voice resonated within his mind, a voice both ancient and calming. "Welcome, Alex," it echoed. "You have come far." Terror melted into confusion. "Who are you? What's happening?" "I am the guardian of this place, the wellspring of both life and magic," the voice replied. "Xochitl has sacrificed herself to contain a darkness that threatened to consume this land. She used the last of her power to bring you here, Chosen One." "Chosen One?" The words hung heavy in the air. Alex felt a surge of disbelief and a flicker of hope. "Chosen for what?" "To break the curse," the voice boomed. "The darkness Xochitl trapped has grown stronger, threatening to break free. You must release her, and together you can cleanse this place." "But how?" The weight of the task crushed down on him. He was just a simple tourist, not a mighty warrior or a powerful magic user. The voice seemed to read his thoughts. "You possess courage and determination, Alex. Those are the true weapons you need. Approach the tree, touch Xochitl's cocoon, and let your will guide you." With a deep breath that did little to calm the storm of emotions within him, Alex approached the colossal tree. The emerald energy crackled around him, but it didn't harm him. He reached out a hand and touched the cocoon. A jolt of energy surged through him, knocking him back a step. Images flooded his mind, Xochitl's teachings, the stories of her ancestors, and the symbol of the spiral. It wasn't just a symbol, it was a key, a representation of balance and harmony. He focused on that idea, on the light of the tree, and on the memory of Xochitl's kindness. As he concentrated, the emerald energy around the cocoon began to swirl and dissipate. Slowly, Xochitl's figure emerged, her eyes fluttering open. A gasp escaped her lips as she saw Alex. "You came," she breathed, her voice weak but filled with relief. "I had to," Alex replied, his voice thick with emotion. The voice echoed once more. "Together, you must cleanse this place. Focus your will on the symbol of the spiral, and banish the darkness back to the void from whence it came." With a newfound purpose, Alex and Xochitl stood side by side, facing the swirling darkness at the heart of the tree. They closed their eyes, focusing on the image of the spiral, on the light of the tree, and on the hope for a better future. They chanted in unison, a melody of defiance against the encroaching shadows. The cavern trembled, the emerald light warping and twisting in response. A monstrous scream echoed within the void, a scream filled with rage and frustration as the darkness fought against their combined will. But Alex and Xochitl pressed on, their voices growing stronger, their shared resolve fueled by the knowledge that the fate of the people hung in the balance. Finally, with a blinding flash of light that momentarily forced them to shut their eyes, the darkness recoiled, sucked back into the swirling vortex from which it came. Silence descended upon the chamber, broken only by the ragged gasps of Alex and Xochitl. They opened their eyes cautiously, the emerald energy within the chamber receding to a gentle hum. The colossal tree pulsed with a renewed vibrancy, its leaves shimmering with a brighter light. Xochitl, her face pale but her eyes regaining their familiar strength, looked at Alex with a tearful smile. "You did it," she rasped, her voice weak but filled with awe. "You cleansed the curse." Relief washed over Alex, a wave so powerful it nearly brought him to his knees. But a nagging doubt remained. What about the guardian? What was that voice? Xochitl looked towards the shimmering tapestries, a flicker of understanding crossing her face. "It is the spirit of the land itself," she explained, "the source of the magic that sustains this place." It recognized the darkness growing within the wellspring, and called upon Xochitl, the strongest magic user of our tribe, to contain it. A tremor ran through Alex. He had been a mere pawn, yes, but a pawn chosen by the spirit of the land itself. A heavy burden, yet an undeniable honor. "But why me?" he asked, confusion clouding his mind. Xochitl studied him for a moment, a flicker of pride in her eyes. "You possess the qualities needed, Alex. Courage and determination. The spirit saw that in you." She took a shaky breath and continued, "But the curse is not entirely vanquished. The vortex remains, a scar on the land. It will require constant vigilance to ensure the darkness doesn't return." Alex knew what she meant. He couldn't simply walk away. He had a purpose now, not just to return home, but to become its protector, a guardian entrusted by the spirit itself. "I understand," he said, his voice firm with newfound resolve. "I'll stay." Xochitl nodded, a faint smile gracing her lips. "Together, then," she said, her voice stronger now, "we will ensure the darkness remains banished." As they stood side by side, bathed in the light of the rejuvenated tree, a new chapter unfolded before them. The journey out of the cave would be fraught with its own challenges, but they faced them together, two unlikely allies bound by a shared purpose. When they finally emerged from the shadows, blinking in the sunlight, they carried not just the weight of their ordeal, but the hope for a brighter future, a future where the curse had been broken and the spirit of the land flourished once more.